Hello, and welcome back to another Pauper video. So I think my previous video was with the unearth version of this that's it came top 8 in a challenge and then 12th in a challenge. Um, I think there was also there was also been a couple of 5-0s. Um, there was also another 5-0 back to a similar version that I'd started playing with Reaping the Graves, Greedy Freeboots, and so on. So I think basically there's lots of different ways you could play this. It's not settled down. Something I think does have a lot of potential is using Makeshift Munitions in this deck. So I've kind of got the cards split out into what they do. Essentially, Makeshift Munitions gives you another sacrifice outlet, another payoff for having lots of creatures that will make another token when they die. So because we've got the Makeshift Munitions, I've cut one carrion feeder. I really wouldn't like this if it was kind of a out and out aggressive deck. But we've got the Reaping the Graves, we've got the Makeshift Munitions, so we can kind of play quite a grindy game as well. A big change, I think, to the previous time I tried Makeshift Munitions, from the kind of strata games, the challenge top 8 list, just playing more of the 1-mana draw 2s is really good. So we're up to 11 of them. Not playing, I couldn't quite fit in the full 12 and enough treasure makers to pay off the munitions, but that helps us cut one of the Reaping the Graves that could otherwise be a little bit clunky. By just having more draw, we can increase our amount of draw. The more you have, the more you can kind of chain together draw spells, and you can kind of cut slightly on a carrion feeder or Reaping the Graves and so on. I'm playing the full complement of treasure generators because I want to be able to cast the munitions, and then I've cut one of the link breakers to make room for that. Again, on the kind of out and out aggressive decks, they're cutting freebooters for even like Nessa Chambler and so on. The other kind of flex slot is a lot of the time there'll be like one Silverrock Lifestaff in the main. I'm not running that. Bit greedy. If we get queued up into a load of mono red, we'll kind of suffer for that. And then lands back up to 17. Again, Makeshift Munitions quite mana hungry. The 4 volts to go with the Deadly Disputes, the Makeshift Munitions. 1 draw spits just so that, again, the deck can still flood out. Back to the sideboard. If we're trying to play this longer game, Lifestaff could well be better than Weather the Storm. Again, we've got other uses for our treasures now in the Makeshift Munitions. We've already got a red spell, so having access to the green mana, that could be a bit tighter. The Lifestaff makes a bit of sense. It looks like people are really high on a Curse Marauder, again, especially with Unearth, and bring it in more matchups than I. In my head, this was only just a Boggles card. There is a point where if you have enough of them, they become really good against the, kind of monster creature decks. Still on the 4 Mesmeric Fiend to snuff out a bit more interaction. So again, Crypt Incursion's another card that there's a kind of a Discord about. I've been talking about this deck. They've said it's really good. I kind of like it because I've not got the main Silver Lifestaff, so I'm probably going to lose game 1 against Mono Red a lot of the time. So another little bit of life gain could help. Also a big hoser for graveyard decks, so there's quite a few running around. And then finally, I've been on Rotterdam Union, which I've been really, really impressed by. I'm going to try out offalsnout. So you can evoke it for 1 mana, sacrifice it to an effect or to a draw effect. Because it's a creature where the Rotterdam Unions aren't, you can Reaping the Graves it back. I'm not sure how relevant that is because, by the time you evoke this, Reaping the Graves, get it back and evoke it again. That's basically just what Rotterdam Union does in its 1 card only. So I'm still a pretty firm believer that Rotterdam Union will be better than this effect. But if we can get somebody by like evoking this in to pump a Beetle or an Infiltrator, that'd be pretty sweet. So this is the deck. We'll jump into a league and see how it goes. So back for round 1, we are on the play. Bit of an awkward one. If we draw any fodder, we're kind of paid off. And I think on average you should mulligan this. I'm going to keep it. You just get better 6s. With so many village rites, like we can village rights away one of our creatures and not be, hugely upset by it, but obviously the intention is not to have better things to sacrifice. So I'm guessing this is Affinity. Perfect timing on the old Makeshift Munitions. Just what we wanted to hit with this start. But joke's on them, we've got plenty of cards to discard, so I'm not going to village rights now. In an ideal world we draw a freebooter or another land. So I think it's just Dross Pits and pass. The beats have stopped. Makeshift Munitions is kind of part of the plan for improving. Indestructible lands are also a bit of a problem. But Makeshift Munitions is kind of a bit of the plan for improving the affinity matchup because the Crackdown Shaman on its own is pretty rough, but you can grow a guy to be pretty tall, and that obviously helps a lot. It's really when it's paired with the toxin analysis that it becomes really powerful, really painful for us. And then hopefully with the munitions active, we can stop them assembling that, or likewise assembling the blowgun combo. Bit of a choice here. How do we give ourselves a shot of winning? So if we sack the mercenary token, we can attack. We can attack with the beetle. I guess if they double block, that's quite funny. I think essentially our way of winning this game is just going to be, essentially going all out, dropping everything, hoping they, if they have a red source, it's via a tap land. We can attack, beetle attack, at least sack this, maybe sack more. I don't like my chances, but I don't see my hand as being one that's improving ginormously as the game goes on. So this block guarantees that they, let's make sure auto yields are on, guarantees that they kill this. They can kind of just block with only the refurb. Not quite sure what they are telling me with this block. Obviously, it's not a great sign that they, if it's I have a great furnace a furnace and a crackdown shaman, and I only care about my flyers, we are going to struggle to win that game. So let's crack the dross pits. Still all feels a little bit awkward. We only have one creature in the graveyard at the minute for the Reaping the Graves anyway. Not going to attack and sacrifice one of our kind of better creatures in for, misfold, bridge, jump. So this is the oh no, it's not the Crackdown Shaman. We'll sacrifice the feeder to itself. So they've not used this 2 mana yet. They equip a blowgun to give this death touch and +1/+1. Then are they going to race? I guess they just attack with this, or no attacks. So now I have 2 creatures to get back, but obviously that's still not really that impactful. I'll play out the swamp. I'll leave one. Having one swamp to cover the first refurb is fine. Still struggling to see how we are going to turn this game around. Although the munitions picking off this, we can attack with multiple creatures, like just attack into the creatures could be strong. they get the swamp out of our hand. I will just reaping back these two. Because again, I think we have to, almost draw a treasure source for this. If we can do that and keep them off of Krak, maybe there's a shot. There's not kind of a pair of creatures that there's not really one draw that we make this reaping much better. That's not it. So if we link break, so feed a link break attack, they can like do some double blocks, keep this alive, and we're essentially trading for one of these. That's not really good enough. What's the advantage to playing Link Breaker and Carrion Feeder this turn? Slightly mana efficient for the Makeshift Munitions. If we can grow it by 1, we can keep the Mirror Enforcer at home. It is, they're up to 8 power in the air, so if they attack for 12 and then 8, obviously that's a bad time for us. So as much as I hate it, again, I think we're just not beating a Crackland Shaman, so we've got to play out some stuff. Hopefully this keeps the Mirror Enforcer at home. Obviously nice we're drawing the other Carrion Feeder here. Do we want to sack any link breakers to this? I don't think we have to. Having this be able to block is kind of good enough on it already. If they wanted to, like they could equip the blowgun over here to get an attack, but not been our best game, that's for sure. I think we just pass. I don't want to drop the Carrion Feeder. That I don't think does anything for us right now. I guess what it does is if they do equip this and attack, we get to get a counter of our link breaker, and potentially I've kind of just given up on this game a bit too early. I've thought from very early on that we had very little chance of winning. Maybe we did have a little bit. We can draw a Carrion Feeder, sorry, a Greedy Freebooter, for example, to go with our Carrion Feeder. I'm back to thinking we're not super dead. So this is a start. Another counter on both our guys. 2 fresh cards. They don't Galv Blast 1 down in response. Not the best. So up to a 7 power, their double blocks don't work anymore. We're never going to be able, well, it's going to be very tough for us to grow this up to 7 power. Let's sack this and the Carrion Feeder to itself. Whereas we can probably grow this one up. So I don't read them as being on a Galv Blaster that have blasted this. They could be on a cast down, which is obviously another thing that they do play. And if we're staying at home, it's tricky because we've got the 12. Yeah, we've got 12 effects to turn on the munitions. A cast down does make sense for something for them to have. They'll play any other. It's either all lands or all cast downs, right? Again, if they have a Crackland Shaman, I don't see how we're beating that. So we can get up to 7 power, but we can't get above it. So I'm attacking with just this. They just block. Hey, I shouldn't have played them. Play the land, I guess. We can try and cover one refurb, but not going to cover two. They have another draw too. Yeah, I shouldn't have played this. That was just kind of a leak where, obviously, if I was playing it thinking I was going to attack, but I'd done my maths wrong. I was getting to 7, not above 7. Yeah, that'll do. As I say, it was funny, it's one card down. If we'd have hit this, like, we're in pretty good shape, right? They can never equip the blowgun, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 artifacts. Like, they can kill our board, but it's very expensive for them. Yeah, I think I probably kind of gave up on this game a little bit too quickly. And if I'd have played, because the opponent didn't draw very well, if I'd have played tighter, maybe there was a way to escape that. But so Affinity's quite rough, I've always found. I don't want snuff outs in the matchup. The best thing they do is kill Quarkland Shaman, but now I've got munitions, and I've got the Shambling Gas as well. What do we want? I think I used Spring and Bottom Union to interact with whatever the card's called, Blood Fountain. I don't want to go up to Crypt Incursion. Curse Mortar, I guess, can kill a Kenku land, right? Because it's still not a token. It does grow our beetles and so on. Affinity is a deck that can punish this and that they can kill this and make us sacrifice something else. I'm not sold on that. I think I'm just going to have my 2 Mesmeric Fiends, mostly because I think the Snuff Outs are worse, rather than the Mes Fiends being particularly great in this matchup. But again, I've got pretty high hopes for Makeshift Munitions being a solid player. See, very awkward that first hand. We'll keep here. We've got a treasure. Everything's good. In all seriousness, I think I want to lead on the freebooter. That scry is also quite valuable. So we can link break, vault, attack for 1. I'm pretty sure. I guess we can wait until their turn. They're not going to have a dispel. So we'll do it now. We might have a better choice of what to sacrifice or what to discard. Do I want another freebooter? I'm happy to have this be what I discard. So let's keep that on top. Everything's coming up Millhouse. So we discard the freebooter. I guess we could discard the swamp. Discarding the freebooter means we're closer to a good reap. But again, with the Makeshift Munitions, this is kind of a shock. The black-red, or attack for 1, black-red munitions. Just play a freebooter. Alright. So we do draw a land, which is kind of on plan. Not a great hand for them to have another freebooter against. Sorry, another refurb against. because obviously these are two very nice cards. If they don't have it, then we can, we've got quite a lot of play here. There are ways away from dropping a, oh no, oh they do have it. So, Dispute or the Reaping. I mean, the Reaping's quite likely to get back 3 things. They do have spell bombs. I think I discard the Reaping. Dispute's just so good. Again, like, we can just keep attacking for days. That's quite funny. I wasn't expecting them to double block, so this has to be a Blood Fountain, right? Guess I'll have this. Nice to have a, start having a payoff creature. Then we can Deadly Dispute the treasure token away. Draw that Beetle. Beetle and a Carrion Feeder. I think I'll just play only the Beetle. Pass back. So, yeah, this makes sense for it being a Blood Fountain in their hand, but part of what I was thinking with attacking is, again, it keeps them so far off of, well, I was going to say so far off of a Mirror Enforcer, but obviously not. Oh, many Mirs are well and truly enforced. So we don't have to Corrupted Conviction now for the treasure. That doesn't make a difference. I do quite want to Corrupted Conviction away this mercenary. It's kind of mana efficient to do it off of this. The Shambling Ghast pings for effectively 2 with munitions, which is pretty relevant. I'm basically trying to work out whether I can get this up to be trading with this. I think here we just basically want to keep growing, keep just drawing 2 cards, drawing 2 cards with a little bit of value for as long as possible. Do we feed a Sage or feed a Ghast, and then keep up the treasure to be able to throw something at a, for example, a Quackland Shaman? The point of playing the feeder would be that we have a shot at growing this to block. Guess we really don't want to block though, do we? I think I'm happy with these 2. And if they double attack, if they attack with both, I'll block sack, pump these 2. We didn't bring in the Accursed Mortar, so they do now have a wall. And also a hard to remove flying blocker. We're only 3 or 2 more Shambling Ghast away. So we can block sack here to just soak up some damage. Obviously with them having the indestructible wall we can't remove, they have a license to be on the aggressive plan. So we can reap for 2. Still isn't particularly impressive. And they have a cast down or Galv Blast represented. If we play the Shambling Ghast, we can attack with both our guys. If they play something, then we reap. It's a bit of a weak attack because we attack if they, block here, we have to sacrifice both of these. They get to crack back for 11. But again, I think I do want to keep trying to get in for some damage. I'm imagining they just block here. Blocking there is easier. Blocking here is worse. So we can, okay, double block's kind of okay. So if we just sack the Shambling Ghast to ping this, we become a 3-3, they become a 2-2, we keep our feeder, and our attack was basically just clear out a Kenku. Again, if we can get them to cast a spell, I'd be kind of happy. The downside would be that they had another spell, which might be hard to beat. So it looks like they don't think they need to, which I probably agree. I'm going to play the land. If they have a refurb, I'll just go for 2. They do have a spell. We can go for 3 now, or we could potentially get more later. What 3 do we get? Like Ghast, Sage, Link Breaker, Gum Up the Ground. We're currently looking at, they attack for 11. We block Sac, take 7. I think I'm going to get my 3 cards now. And there'll be Ghast, Sage, Link Breaker. So by attacking, we got them to leave this back, which I'm quite happy about. If they're attacking with that, it's I guess that's when they're moving from I'm going to win eventually. I'm 90% to win eventually till I know you're just dead now. So would we rather have the carrion feeder or the beetle? I think we're having the beetle. Again, struggling to see how we're getting through all this. And I'll keep the treasure around. Just basically going to drop my hand out and say, okay, we can chump block these bozos for days. Obviously, we can't attack with one guy into the bridge anyway. I guess it's harder for them to attack. So yeah, my current take is that I probably had a bit of play in. I will sack this to draw. Doesn't really matter. I could sack later, but they might not decide to attack with everybody. Yeah, so I think my current take is I maybe could have escaped round one. Sorry, game one, if I'd have just played a little bit more patiently as opposed to just keep jamming when it wasn't ever when it wasn't getting any better. I don't know how. I think it feels like this game, they had the Kenku early enough. They built this wall early enough that we were really ever gonna, really gonna struggle to ever get through it. So one kills everything, two kills the link breaker, but we're gonna get. So we can basically throw the ghast at something to kill one of their enforcers. Sure, we'll take 11. And let's just see if they've got anything sweet in those 3 cards. But you know what? I'm even gonna let this trigger resolve. Yeah. So yeah, that's my take. Because I think game one we had a bit of a shot if we'd have played slightly less. Essentially slightly given up a bit too early. Could have played a bit tighter and maybe ground a way out. I feel like in this game, had the refurbs quite early, and then the Kenku was at turn 4. I know. I thought they Kenku before they double mirror enforced. Kenku turn 5, so double mirror enforced turn 4, then Kenku turn 5. So we just kind of couldn't ever muscle our way through that wall, unfortunately. On to the next game. So we are back for round 2. Blah. That's all we have to say about that one. This hand's alright. Guess we put back a land. I tend to put back like dispute. Just put back a land's fine. Going to draw 4 cards from this hand, so decent chance one of them's a land. So blue red Fey, blue red Scred. Kind of thinking this is a Terra deck. If I play the Ghast, then if it is a fairy deck, I can like Infestation Sage, Conviction to kill a sprite. Cool card. If we do find a land, we'll put him to the test. Test you. Ah, no, no luck. So back into what do we actually want to do? I think we just Sage, and then I think I want a Conviction. I will try and play around a Spell Pierce. I think. I don't really want to drop the feeder. I figure the feeder's like guaranteed to be targeted by a burn spell, so I might as well hold a Conviction for that, or a Deadly Dispute for that. Temur. So this just kind of got a bit awkward. I think if I'd have played the carrion feeder, would they have just like bolted it then? Oh well. We've got a treasure for this. Let's play the land and attack for 2. So we've got the treasure, we've got the Deadly Dispute for another treasure as well. So now they're Temur, I kind of like this a bit less, but I'm just going to pass. If they play some stuff, draw some spells, and then I can Munitions. They crack the clue. I think I'm gonna dispute this for a treasure. And I think I'm just going to convict this as well. Just lock in our card draw whilst we can. And then basically the next time they go to tap out something, we're going to hope to resolve munitions, or otherwise it will be kind of our our trump. We can quote unquote bait with a beetle or a carrion feeder. If they counter one of them, we've got the munitions back. Munitions not known for being great against crab tokens, and not great against writhing chrysali, but I'm figuring that we're going to be able to make a lot of creatures that are hard or somewhat hard to for them to interact with, and we just throw everything at them with the munitions eventually. Play the Vault, I might end up sacking the Vault. But again, I probably should have played it. What? They're never going to be on negate. I think the coast was clear. Yeah, we'll dispute. I should have played the munitions. Always yes, always yield in. What's the word? In show our respects. I really don't like not playing the munitions there. It was they're going to be on counterspell. I don't think they're going to be on negate or anything else like that. And it's not necessarily that I think I'm assuming Team is more likely to tap out than most of the other kind of control decks, because I'm assuming that Chrysalis is so good. Maybe that's wrong. See, I still don't really know what they're doing over here. Just chip in for one. But yeah, so it's kind of that I don't think they had it, but mostly that now I'm going to find it potentially hard to resolve the munitions again, and we can't pick it up, recur it. I don't mind playing one freebooter. This could well be a breath weapon, but it's a I'll take getting breath weaponed here. So the freebooter is never going to attack into the crab successfully, but as they've shown their willingness to block. Yeah, really unhappy about not playing the munitions though. The little insect token that could is basically the entire plan. It's too weak to get bolted itself, but it will just keep chipping in. So, I mean, I could bait with the Deadly Dispute to resolve munitions again if they've only got. I've got no idea what their deck's doing. I actually don't hate that. Try and dispute away a treasure token. The reaping does open up a lot of opportunities for us now. This is where, this is the kind of, I don't really know what they're doing, but the kind of matchup where it looks like Reaping the Graves should shine. Knock yourself out. You're going to have too many cards in hand. just gonna have to play something. we can't. We've got too many things. We can't get them all back. So I guess we sack the freebooters so that because we're going to get them back anyway. I'll top this as a fine thing to draw next. So get back these 6. Like we say, we're going to have 8 cards in hand, so it's very unfortunate, but we're going to have to play something. If I play a freebooter and a beetle, say. I guess we redo both freebooters. Then beetle. They spread this. Sacking itself to itself doesn't matter. Or I can be really weird and sack it now to get us back into. We can probably resolve munitions, but again, it's they could just have spell pierce. I'll just feel like a fool. Well done, you got it. And then just pass. We've got 6 cards. That's fine. So we didn't actually achieve anything that turn, did we? We basically just played a load of things, sacked a load of things. They killed it. We got back 2 creatures, 3 creatures, and we got 2 bolts out of their hands. Just a funny. It was a cool reap in the grave spot. Did the thing, but I'm gonna feeder first because I don't want to play out all my fodder, get it breath weaponed, and then we're letting everything resolve, which is weird. Hilariously, I can attack with these 2, and then they can't really end a turn breath weapon. They block with their crabs. Get them. See, I think I probably should have then made this attack before playing everything out, but yeah. Guess I can play my Volt. Do I play anything else, or I'll play another Sage. Keep the Shambling Ghast around. I've still got no idea what's going on over there. I assume that, I feel like they've got so many cards in hand. There has to be some kind of, we're not seeing what the green is in there for. There's got to be some kind of funky twist, combo-y thing. It might just be Chrysalis, but that seems. Well, they've drawn 23 cards now, right? That's the point. They've drawn 23 cards. We've seen some red interaction, but not any counter spells or anything yet. I guess there's not been any fantastic counter targets. I'd have thought they'd have countered the beetle if they had one and we played it last turn. So I think we're just jamming with everyone on the ground. If they're taking 5 a turn, they can't do that for very long. if they don't block these, then we risk growing them. So, okay, I'm just going to pass because I want to see what the opponent's doing. I think, again, probably maximizing win rate, I'd probably sack like some sages and try and get through, but I'm not against seeing more of the opponent's deck. We'll take our time to kill them. Oh, a green mana. Don't be a murmuring mystic. Lorien revealed. Lorien revealed is just hilarious because it's just it seems right on theme for what's been done so far. Yep. You have a bunch of cards, but you need to cast them. I think this is the most tempted I've ever been to snuff out a crab token. Yeah, again, like, oh, attack for 5, see if they do something. I'm dying to know what the juice is over there. You can spread down a guy. I will village rites him. If you give me 2 cards, that's fine. If they try and use a counter up, yeah, you get this one. Well, it's bolt this, breath weapon, then yeah, they're kind of in the clear, but we've got the 2 insects chipping in. Obviously we've got 2 cards we're drawing off of this village rites. Yeah, so they finally blink. And then, do we have 7? Yeah, we've got 7. Oh no, we can't quite kill them yet, can we? Because we need to pay for the munitions. So they don't have removal for this. They're going to be in trouble. Or like life gain, but see, oh, okay. Decide team a mid-range and all your chrysalises are in the bottom of your deck. Your turn step. We'll throw some freebooters at them for some scries. Obviously, eventually it will be lethal. Sure, we'll just take another shock at this point, won't we? Maybe we could have done better than the shock. 3 mana shock, Stormbind. I'll throw these, which opens us up to being breath weaponed again, but with the Shambling Ghast in hand and the other one on the top. I think we still win that. Let's just kind of stage manage this now then. So we can attack for 3, get in for 2, shoot the one that they block. Like if they have a Weather the Storm or something, or Pulsing Matter, but yeah. So weird game. This is the kind of like blue mid-range pile that I've had really good. Yeah, I've had good results against in the past. Obviously, it's not a tier deck, so but it's a fun one to do our thing against. What do we want to do different? So they don't seem to have many other creatures, so actually a Curse Mortar might be decent. Snuff Out's good enough against Chrysalis. I kind of want to cut these because they're going to have some, artifact enchantment hate now. I'm assuming. That's just quite funny. Like, if we cut this and they bring in blue blast, that's hilarious to me. Get them. Is it good or not? Doesn't matter when you get them. Why not have the Mesmeric Fiends? I guess because they're not very good. That's fine. And then cuts. I might not do the Fiends. I might just do the 2 Curse Marauders. Don't really want to cut Snuff Out because they're on the Chrysalis and all that. Maybe I do the Munitions. I'll save cutting the Munitions for game 3. Then they really won't expect it. And just cut like Conviction, another Link Breaker. Sure. Let's just get back into the game. Not completely sold on cutting the Link Breaker being the best thing to do. Don't really know what else it would be. I guess the problem with cutting the Carrion Feeder already is I don't really, really don't want to go down to 2. It could be the Snuff Out, but Snuff Out is pretty good against Chrysalis. Yeah. Shambling Ghast is probably worse than Freebooter here. Yeah, I could see it being cutting the Shambling Ghast. So against, I guess they're going to have some graveyard hate now, aren't they? I'm just going to keep. We're going to see, what's this, 4 cards for second land on turn 2. If we get Spell Pierced out of town, it's not very good for us. Good for the other inhabitants of the town, but opponent keeps and has a bit of a think. We get there on our land straight away, like a master. We are lagging a bit. We will see whether we played the free. Yeah, again, I think I should have played the Shambling Ghast because they might have spell sussers in the sideboard or something. But obviously, this was the plan as we talked about. But because we found the second land already, we're under a bit less pressure. I don't mind to hold up Conviction. I don't think I need to just fire for Conviction here. I also don't hugely mind just Shambling Ghasting. I think the life expectancy of a beetle in these matches is going to be very short. It's just if they have another island, you know, they bolt, we sack, if we get them into a cast into the fire, that's quite nice. But yeah, they bolt, we sack, they counter it. So we can conviction this, grow our beetle. Take another beetle, sure. Always yes, always yield. I don't realise if I'm only just explaining this now. The reason we do it that way around is otherwise you always yield, and then it's like, do you want to use it? Yes or no. If you do it always yes, always yield, then it doesn't bother asking you. You've already told it. And it's easier to click it on the card than come all the way over. Here. That's the high level analysis for this match. Other than that, we're just donking cards into play, aren't we? let's not kid ourselves. I don't know if I already auto-yielded, but I'm going to turn that off so that we can sacrifice that. Okay. Yeah, otherwise if they bolted this again, we'd potentially miss our chance to sacrifice, and that would be sad. So let's donk 2 more things into play. Attack for 2. Do we want to sack this to a village rites? We could draw anything, another village rites. I don't hate it. It gets us out of breath weapon on one of these. But again, we're going to get out of breath weapon anyway. Yeah, let's hold it back, and then again, if they do bolt a beetle, we can sack that beetle. So we do run back into them having counterspell up. Made my choice by F6. Oh no, they give us it back. Yeah. So I think I think the better play is to village rights the Gast in our turn, because if we just draw a few lands, then the reapings aren't going to do a lot. So yeah, if they can counter this village rights now, we might be in a bit of, it's just going to be really clunky. We just don't have enough creatures in our graveyard. They're all in play. But also, if we, it's this back into, if we can next turn play village rights, even if they do have a counter, then we just reaping for 3. Again, struggling with the number of creatures in the graveyard to pay it off. But yeah, now we're back into this, like, I really wish I'd done this village rights. But we can attack in for 2. Okay. So I'll village rights this then. Here, because there's 2 of them, we have to auto yes both creatures, both instances of the Mortician Beetle, which is, again, very unfortunate. So we can play one of these and then reap. Play one of these, sack this for a treasure. Play Infestation Sage. Sack both copies of Infestation Sage, reap for, well, get back 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, why not? We've got the cards, they're not doing anything for us in our hand. mean, maybe there's some graveyard hate over there. That's, you know, something that could make sense. Don't know what it would be for blue-green. Obviously, sack the clue is the most likely outcome. Yeah. So we're not out of range of like a scred still, but getting to do this all again next turn will be fun. Still not quite sure what, you know, entirely what the plan is over here, but I think it's a good one for me. You know, with the reaping, if they've not got, they don't actually have the graveyard interaction. We beat the count. Reaping beats the counter spells. Now creatures just, there's so many of them. They grow so much. So I don't know what card they can have that can punish all this. Like, don't think there's a death touch effect in green that people might be playing. Like, I don't know. So let's just jam it all. We can't. I should have held one of these back so that I could reaping again, but oh well. It's all in play now. We are on full on just click. No thinking, just clicking. And still take like ages to do it. I guess we played like not in like a took ages and ages to make decisions, but did a very slow game plan in game one. I'll top this just because it's a spell for the reaping. And I will just shoot this stupid Eldrazi spawn so there's one less jump blocker. They sack it, pumps the beetles. Don't think it's like hugely relevant, important, but because there was like there's the kind of Temur just MH3 pile, right? That was kind of cool for a bit. There was the Eldrazi like distant melody on Eldrazi, but we've not seen enough Eldrazi for that. So do sacrifice, so we get some more counters. Tasty, tasty, nom nom nom. Are you going to use that mana for anything? This is like meeting of minds. That's hilarious. If you've got it, use it. Makes sense. We get into 7, they go down to 8. They sack again. I will look forward to see, obviously there's some chance they've got a death touch damage dealing effect, but I think it's pretty low. Well, we can't do anything to it anyway, so let's just draw to yield and have a quick drink. We can sit back and enjoy this turn together. Oh, that was my break to take some multivitamins and stuff. Opponent has conceded. Still not quite sure what is going on over there, but I guess, I don't know, I'll say deck kind of functioned quite nicely. Shrug. On to the next one. So we are back for round 3, gonna keep. Got a payoff, got a first thing to sacrifice, got a whole bunch of draw twos. Let's see what we're up against. I'm guessing this is cyclestorm, so we'll be trying to jam the infiltrator as quick as possible. If we're doing that, does shambling gas speed up that clock at all? I guess is a slightly better thing to sacrifice. We can sacrifice it, make a treasure. So just gonna make as quick a clock as we can. We don't really have anything else going for us in game 1. Game 2, we've got a bit of artifact hate, a bit of graveyard hate, sorry. So we're going to sack this for 1 counter, make a treasure for 2 counters. Play this, sack this. Let's execute on that. All the munitions in the world. So don't see a way that we're killing any quicker than being 2 turns away, unfortunately, which gotta think is too slow. Maybe turn 5 on the yeah, it's just too slow, isn't it? But we can, click through, I guess, on our side. Carrying feeder could speed us up, but we can at least stop them from cycling as many street wraiths. So, oh no, we might have lethal. Wow. Expensive street wraith. So 2, 4, 10, 11 damage. So turn 4 kill on the draw. Again, helped greatly by the presence of a street wraith on the other side. But yeah, getting a 11 power creature on play in turn 4's medium good. what, like ever so slight chance they have a, what's it like, deadly no, deadly dispute ploy, something like that. Nope, just really good carrying feeder, that's for sure. Not great makeshift munitions. So let's cut these makeshift munitions and this snuff out. I have my mesmeric fiends, I have my crypt incursion. The, I'm just not sure the offal snout really does enough. I don't even think I'm going to bother bringing that in. Just sniping one creature out of the way doesn't seem like it's going to be worth a card for us. Maybe it's better than a Reaping the Graves, but part of me thinks that the absurd Reaping the Graves draws where you just like, they're few and far between, but again, you know, Crypt Incursion, good graveyard hate. Awful Snout, oh snouty, I don't think is gonna. Uh, I was laughing to myself at how I just come up with, like, I don't know. As soon as I try and talk for an amount of time, like you do trying to stream Pauper League, I just come out with all these kind of all the odd sayings. So it's like Awful Snout, he just doesn't quite cut the mustard. Don't know if people are familiar with cutting the mustard, but great saying. So we're going to keep this. We're going to try and feed a Fiend on turn 2. We do have the option to Shambling Gas for another treasure and an extra counter. Depend a bit on what we draw. So like one extra power on the carrion feeder is not fantastic. The treasure opens up, a Reaping the Graves, so we could potentially just get back and cast another Mesmeric Fiend. We could just say that we're gonna put our blinders on, infiltrate this turn, and actually get a clock into play that way. So yeah, if they kill us turn 3, they kill us turn 3, but we can interact on turn 4. If we do Mes Fiend, then so we can get this to be 3 power from Ghast Mes Fiend this turn. The next turn we can, infiltrate, play the treasure, Infestation Sage, sack both. So we have a 3 power, put in 17. This becomes a 5 power, and the Infiltrator becomes 5 power. So we kill them in 2 turns after that, but we don't have any more interaction yet. I'm actually, I know, so if we're playing the Shambling Gas, we can't, sorry. This is based on playing the Shambling Gas this turn, but if we do, we don't have, we use the treasure to play the Mes Fiend. I kind of just want to be greedy and play the Infiltrator. We just give them so much time if we don't. Like, taking, a Reaping the Graves or whatever out of their hand, but if we give them another, if this cuts our clock by 2 turns. Hold. Don't like them having a bunch of Street Wraiths. See, it does help they chip in for some damage on themselves, but yeah, they are gonna start trying to combo us. Oh no, they're not. Okay, well we're just slamming Shambling Ghast into Mezfiend. Amusingly, we're giving them a bit of Storm Camp for Reaping the Graves. That's actually not very funny, is it? That's quite awkward. But get back. We can give you 3 of your things. Oh no. So gonna talk to a few people about this matchup. I don't think it's awful, but it's basically, if they have their best draw, they always win. If you I think you probably catch like around 50% of their draws that they don't win on. You get to turn 4, or you get a small bit of interaction. So this is rituals all the way down. I mean, we can take the Songs of the Damned as their best ritual, but they've basically got infinite mana. Unless I'm missing something, we just take the Carabid and hope that they don't draw it like into a Reaping the Graves, and this just limits their options to do it. Their mana is so redundant. And then we attack for 8, and they've got 1 turn to find, a bunch of cyclers into Reaping the Graves. I guess it makes sense they don't cycle the Carabid, because if they hit a Reaping the Graves, that's almost worse. And yeah, we're just, slightly fortunate they don't kill us on turn 3 from that hand. If they had if they'd have Deadly Disputed into a Reaping, they might well have, but they only saw 16 cards. That's going to happen some amount of the time. Right, on to the next. So we are back in round 4. We are unable to keep this hand, or on the play, and we will keep this hand. Got a Link Breaker and a Dream. I'll put back one of the disputes because we can't cast it. And then lead on Link Breaker, because if we don't draw if we draw a Swamp, we can beat it and then Conviction. Otherwise, we just have to fire off the Conviction. Looks like against red-green, so getting the Swamp there is really nice. We'll get him for our damage. I quite like red-green as a matchup. Your creatures grow very effectively. And then you can kind of grind through with Reaping some amount of the time. Eldrazi Spawn tokens aren't, as good against you as they could be against others. Thanks to Monsieur Beetle. This is definitely a hand with a lot of mana in it. Terrifying. Is there a rumble, or is there just sweet nothing? Sweet nothing. So do we Deadly Dispute to try and find a land, or just jam out 2 more 1-drops? So they have access to 6 mana next turn, 7 if they've got a land. So if they have a Chrysalis, they're going to be they're very likely to be sacrificing some spawns to chain together 2 spells. We could sack Mercenary Dispute, Getting for 4. If we miss on our land, you know, we've still got the treasure. Yeah. Alright. I'm not thrilled by this. I could see this being wrong. And it's just better to put 2 infestation sages into play. I will play out probably the freebooter of the treasure for the F6 value. If they have a boarding party, I'd probably, I'd strongly consider blocking. If they don't, I can sack this to get the draw. Jewel Thief, happy with them having a Jewel Thief. But yeah, I don't think there's, I know this deck has some hands where it kind of, craps out, draws the wrong half of the deck, or alternatively just kind of floods one way or the other. But I don't think it's the end of the world to just be a deck that punishes, other draws. You've got some powerful ones. If your just main plan is punishing other draw, like decks, kind of slightly weaker draws isn't the end of the world. Do you want to get the scry here? Basically, if we draw is there anything that we draw that we'd want to have that extra mana untapped? Like potentially Infiltrator, but I don't think that's even guaranteed. Another Beetle, maybe another Beetle. Not a Shambling Gas, don't really mind about that. So just really want to find a swamp or a land of some description. Won't necessarily bottom everything else, but definitely keeping a land. Don't even hate 2 lands. So I think we'll just double Sage, get in our attack for 4, and then we'll probably Conviction down Sage after, well, this has Trample, but turn off auto heals. What's going on? What you got? Reinforce 2. I guess we snuff out. We could pump and trade, but yeah. Oh god. We're getting scavenged. No, okay, we just blow out on the F6 value, snuff out. So I want more snuff outs in this matchup. Probably want more Curse Marauders. Is this a Makeshift Munitions match? I don't think so, right? Don't think I want any of the other bits. They're probably going to have deglammers. Oh, well, they wouldn't. Hopefully, they don't bring any deglammers against me. That's a bit wild. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be against drawing munitions, but I don't think it's on the top of my list of things I want. Might leave 1 in just because I'm, trying out the card, I guess. But that means we've got 3 more cuts to make. Weirdly, I'm not completely sold on Carrion Feeder. I think this is a match where we just try, or a deck that we just try and have a load of draw 2s and sacrifice our guys naturally through that. And I don't mind cutting a freebooter and one of the link breakers. I don't love cutting the freebooter because we've got the munitions, and I don't love cutting the link breakers because we've got so many of these draw 2 effects that want to be able to sacrifice 2 creatures. But because we've cut the feeder and the munitions, maybe we can, as long as we pay attention to how we play it, I think that's fine. Again, I find I'm doing more and more of these very hedgy sideboard or sideboarding plans where I'm just boarding out, like trimming one of everything. It is a deck that needs to draw like the right combination of things, so it's not, necessarily awful, but I'm not convinced that it doesn't fill you with confidence when the plan is just trim one of a bunch of different things. So I didn't really talk about this yet. Bit of a weird keep in that we don't have a payoff. Don't really have don't have a payoff. Don't have a draw spell. Don't really have a sack outlet. We can't cast munitions. Got 2 snuff outs that we they're nice to draw to later in the game, but don't really want them right now. But caps. So a sack spell is good. That's unfortunately not a sack spell. I mean, they're tempting me with this not making a land drop to just snuff out an Arbor Elf. It does feel very rude. It's hard to get away from, isn't it? Like, it's a shame because I've got so many ways to kill this Arbor Elf through just having a way to sacrifice a Shambling Ghast with ideally with a draw spell. Or if we ever, can make a treasure, we can play the munitions and do it. So that's 11 draw spells, 2 carrion feeders still in the deck, 13 ways to kill the elf. If we kill the elf, it's not the end of the world to give them the extra mana for 1 turn. And then we can kill the elf and keep our stuff out to get value by, not trading 4 life for this. So 13 outs to do that. What are the other things we draw? Just more fodder, then I don't really want them to have the elf around. I think I just want an easy ride, so I'm gonna snuff it out. If this was, I think if it was like a challenge or something, I wouldn't. If it was a higher stakes event, but as is. Again, obviously they might have been trying to sell me on this by oh, what are you doing? Cast into the fire, our guys down. Finds a Vastwood, so you want to keep your guy. But what if I want to kill your guy really badly? Is there because they're responding, I kind of want to snuff out again, but when I snuff out again, they just find a land and play a 3/3. Like an Eldrazi repurposer that fixes their lands. In for a penny. I did it again. In for a penny, in for a pound. Don't know if you have that saying. It's a cracker. It's a cracker. It's probably another saying. Then it's a good saying. Yeah. So they find their land. Still short on. Still not able to play anything. So paid off. We draw a clunker. So I'm glad that they're not, playing an avenging hunter with their 5 mana. Not quite the time for you yet, Reaping the Graves. The other benefit of killing their guy is if we draw a Curse Marauder, you know, we can really put the boots in. Or at least make them sacrifice something a bit more valuable. I kind of just want to chump attack with a freebooter. I'll leave the Shambling Ghast at home because that's, you know, the -1/-1's relevant if they have another, whatever the card is called, Aggro. But getting this into my graveyard's good with the Reaping the Graves. Getting the Scry is good. Getting the treasure is good. It's just good all the way down. I guess I could have, yeah, I'd say the same logic to block, but that's weird. I don't know why I attacked not just blocked them. I guess all the stuff about the treasure is obviously better if I play it now. Am I going to block with the Ghast to make my treasure? I don't get the Scry. I don't think so. Yeah, Snuff Outing twice really did do a number on our life total. And another big trampling guy is not helping. May I introduce you into triple block your Jewel Thief with all my shitters? I guess we could even block the Krushok and then Shambling Ghast it down. So this is, I guess, again, coming back to what I was saying in the last video, there's nothing wrong with just like, you know, as long as you can cover. If you're playing the stats game, you only need to be able to beat most of a deck's draws. You don't need to necessarily beat all of them. But what's this? Breath Weapon? Another, like, reinforce? Or are you like, I actually don't care. This block is not good. Which I would agree. So it's another reinforce. So we are alive. I guess we're making treasures because giving random creatures -1/-1 doesn't do anything. We don't want another infestation sage. But it would have been better than the swamp. Well, let's just get out of here. Yeah, I mean, whoa, this was not an advert for either Makeshift Munitions. Well, this was not an advert for this deck, was it? Let's be honest. Do we want any Silver Life stuff? So just looking at that game, if we're behind, it does help us kind of potentially trade up and gives a bit of life gain to offset our 4 snuff outs. I don't think I want it over any of the other effects that we have in, is the problem. Again, like yeah. The problem with this game is that you know, none of the graveyard effects would have been good unearthed there. You know, by the time we had any creatures in the graveyard, we were dead. So yeah, run it back. Learn your lesson about not just snuff outing for the potential gotchas. So we can keep this for off the back of Sage Commission. We can't snuff out, so we're saving ourselves from making some terrible choices. Although I think actually I'm just going to Dross Pits and guarantee the turn to Infiltrator. That makes more sense to me. Stick it and allow it to grow. Yeah, really valuing the fact that we can't, our deck's not allowing us to make the same game-losing choices for just trying to catch a freebie. So we're kind of hanging this out if they do have a, spell that interacts positively with it. It's not necessarily something the repurpose is not something I'm too worried about. So our snuff out's live, we can get it. Alternatively, we can just take the turn to play a Marauder. We can't conviction the Marauder for any value because we will end up having to sacrifice something else, which we would not want to do. So yeah, just Marauder and Sage, right? Maraudering does give them another Eldrazi spawn token, but we're not going to stop that from happening. Or maybe we just Sage and just start rightsing. We can Sage double rights. That way we don't get to attack. If they have their extra spawn token, they use it for, say, an Avenging Hunter, then we just snuff out that, don't we? It's only 3, but 3 more than nothing. So this feels like a big turn for them. Again, we're open to Breath Weapon as a potential thing that they have. A Chrysalis is on the acceptable end of things. It's a big old Chrysalis though. Beetle is nice. We can get to growing. The opponent, let's just say the number of opponents that have learned about Eldrazi spawn tokens and Mortician Beetle has gone right up. I don't get quite as many just free 1/1 counters from opponents just sacking all their things to pump my Beetle for me anymore. Still does happen, but not as often. I'm just going to auto yield this. So this is up to a 4/5. 5/6. It's getting into 5/6 is getting into snuff out range. Ooh. Just beetles all the way down. See, finish drawing our cards for the finish drawing our cards for turn, then make that choice about snuff outing. The fact that it's another snuff out. Again, last turn it was an attack for 3. This time it's for maraudering the repurposer. This time it's attack for 5. They've already invested 3 Scion tokens into that. Obviously, 3 Scion tokens would do a lot of chump blocking. Do a lot of good. They want to pay something off that, they're pumping this, and we're just going to snuff out, a lot of what they play here. So, rightly or wrongly, I'm feeling pretty confident about this game. And yeah, this was back to our draw. Feels like it's been, kind of played. Our draw has played itself, I guess. Didn't have that many real complicated. Well, didn't have that many choices to make. / I think our choices are actually quite inconsequential if these are the cards on top of our deck. I think your win rate would be pretty high. I get the feeling this second snuff out's gonna really sting for them. So they can't block the beetle, because if they sack pump their guy, pumps our guy, they have to pump both our beetles to sack the spawn tokens to pump this. The alternative is that they have the crush shock and we just blow them out again. And that is my prediction. If we find a way to get this up to, find a way to sacrifice this infestation sage from hand, then we get to attack with all three. If we don't, but I probably will just cycle off the draw spits. We might not cycle off draw spits because then we can cast our stuff out, but again, I don't think I'm too worried about my life total. Again, this doesn't have trample yet. We're probably killing it. I mean, what if they like Nick spawn Hydra? We get down to 12. It's very hard for them not to be blocking with the spawn tokens, and then if they have a Hydra and no mana, that's much less scary. So opponent could be thinking about a ram through here. Do they want to pump up 3 times then ram through us? But if there's a potential they have a ram through, do we want to do something other than just, do we want to like not snuff out yet? I think I'm just gonna, I don't know. The pause might well have just been them having a glass of water or whatever, but I will respect it as a potential sign that there's something going on. So I won't. Basically, the advantage of snuff out in this would be that I get to attack with this beetle as well. As is, I'm just going to get into combat attack with these two, and then see what they go for. This is medium fine. And then we can play out both our infestation sages. Again, obviously they know we've got stuff out, but really selling that we don't have anything up. We did see Vines of Aswood as well, but an Avenging Hunter. You're tapped out of green sources. You've played your forest for the turn, so we don't have to respond. They've left a red mana in the pool. So that could be relevant. That could actually be quite tricky. They can't breath weapon us. They can't sack these to breath weapon us because they pump our beetle. So that doesn't actually seem too relevant. They could have left a green up, but essentially chose not to. Which they might kick themselves for. I'd happily chump block with an infestation sage. Obviously, we've got plenty of sack fodder. Making a flyer is pretty relevant, especially if it means they're attacking with the chrysalis. If not, we'll just go to our turn before snuff outing. If we draw a land, we can do it for mana. If we do it in our turn, it could be a storm count. All these other very marginal things, but again, I think we're just a bit too far ahead on board for them to catch up. So we can snuff down. So to spell it out, we can snuff out the Avenging Hunter over the Chrysalis now, and that kind of puts them back onto the only creature they can. They can't win combat to these two. Yeah, so snuff out this. We can, yeah. So I was going to say we can attack for 9. We'd attack with these two as, or at least we'd attack. Yeah, it's a bit tricky. We'd have to attack with these two as well to make sure that we get the initiative, which would put us in a bit of an awkward spot. Blocking here, block, eat this. We get the initiative. Yeah, but it's kind of then what do they have? What a Hydra's not going to do it. 6. Yeah. Right, on to the next. So back into round 5. Nice easy choice. And a nice easy choice. Keep this. I'm going to put back a swamp. Could be better to put back a dispute there, but so opponent leads on Bog. Mostly I'm pretty happy against kind of slower black control decks. Don't quite know what flavour of slower black control deck this is. Am I going to deadly dispute now? I think so. I'm imagining it's probably like a Pactdoll deck, which we've not played against much. Yeah, this seems like it's screaming Pactdoll at me. Hopefully it's not just Affinity, because as discussed, Affinity just feels a bit rough. So we can Beetle Munitions. I guess we don't need to play the munitions out. If we hold it back, we might catch something better, but I don't really want to play out all my Infestation Sages. I don't mind playing a freebooter and then Deadly Disputing, probably the freebooter, using the treasure, because obviously we'll make a new one. Got all the way to Jagged Barrens. What do you need so many red sources for, eh? So I'm imagining this is getting Gal blasted, but we're going to fire off a dispute, sacking our freebooter anyway. Yeah. See, maybe you're just like Affinity with offering over, like, ooh, don't mind if I do. Yeah, it might just still be Affinity. If it is, I'm quite excited to see whether Munitions does do a lot of work. Oh, we do another beetle anyway. If it is Affinity, I'm excited to see whether the Munitions does as much work as I think it could. I now wish I had paid attention and not clicked this one. I leave myself open to refurb. Discarding the Reap in the Graves is really bad. I was thinking we could play it because we can use the treasure token to sack the freebooter to make another treasure token. So like we can pump this quite effectively, but yeah, just getting refurbed out of town is not something I am too interested in. Unfortunately, is the life I seem to have chosen. Alas, may we never be punished. Can this happen at... Yeah, this is actually only a sorcery. I figured if they're making a bunch of these tokens, they didn't want to make combat an absolute nightmare. So we're going to our turn, which I think will count as a good outcome. We'll keep our land in hand for familiar protection, refurb protection. Why are you just Rakdos Madness playing Fanatical Offering on Wellspring? Because you're on the Barons and like Bolt's not an affinity deck. What are you? Basically, I can keep this alive through the Bolt by sacking 1, 2, 3 things. And I don't even hate that. In a slightly better, so if I sack 3 things, I do actually still have enough mana to reping for 3 as well if they bolt again. Just, with this out, Stormbinds all the way down. So again, this is more about getting another burn spell out of their hand, I think, rather than expecting the refurb will survive the turn. But this again turns this into a Stormbind, gets another card out of their hand. A slight choice on do we want to throw this at them or play out another spell this turn. If we play out a spell, it would just be a fodder spell anyway, wouldn't it? The damage is adding up. And also, they've cast 2 spells, but it's quite easy for them to cast a couple of spells. Cast more than 2 in their turn. I think I'm just going to reap for 3. It's good enough. We know we're drawing a... so we want the 2 Mortician Beetles and an Infestation Sage. We know we're drawing a Link Breaker for our turn. What's going on? Terror? Yep. So Beetle, Link Breaker, Sac, just to make our guys 3/3s. See, 3/3s don't necessarily get over the line. Yeah, they're not out of bolt range. Link Break. We can Link Break, throw Link Break and the Inset token at this and just get it gone, but I think they're very likely to have a complete blank on card named Blood Fountains. Yeah, we can kind of save that for next turn. I'm just going to put 2 3/3 Beetles into play, or 2 Beetles into play. I don't think I even actually bothered to grow them just yet. We can grow, in response to some things. And this way we keep our powder dry. See, another saying, just full of them. so that we can throw, just a whole bunch of shitters at this next turn if we have to. All Wolf Springs, no deadly disputes for now. As much as I'm saying high damage adds up, it really doesn't take long for the they reveal a bolt, so that go to the graveyard. And here's the blood fountain, so another 2 damage, but we get to keep our guys. And we can make them 5 power right, so throw both of these at it, throw both of these at them, play the link breaker, throw both of them at them. I'm kind of reading that they're going to have to jump block, right? Go to 13. So we play the link breaker, attack with both. They no blocks, link breaker them twice, they go to 11, regrow both our guys to 5/5s. With the insert token, they die. So I guess we basically just do that, but play the beetle as well. Hey, it's like a carrion feeder, but it doesn't get bolted. Always yes, always yes, always yes, always yield, yes. So we hit them for 6. So yeah, I mean, I'm not going to call this an impressive Makeshift Munitions game. I think this is an impressive drawing 3 Mortician Beetle game. Or at least drawing the first 2 and being able to reaping them back. This was, I'll say this was probably a match where reaping was better than unearth would have been. Yeah. Just Beetle, when it gets going, it's just, the rate's absurd. So if they're on the burn side, I'll look at the life staff. Don't want snuff outs. We've seen this stupid Fire Weaver, but I don't think that's too high on my radar, or too high on my list of concerns, etc. So burning us again, Crypt Incursion is kind of a nice, potential nice thing to have that can gain us, maybe not gain us that much life, but stop a blood fountain from working. It's a bit awkward because this is where I'd normally bring in my graveyard hate, even if it is just because, sorry. I normally bring in my graveyard hate because blood fountain is a relatively easy thing to interact with, and bottom union matches up to it quite well. They get back 2 creatures, we can exile 2 creatures. Hey, everyone's happy. In a way that offalsnout really doesn't do, is where I'm getting with that. That's a very long-winded way of saying I would bring in better graveyard hate, but I don't have it because I'm trying out this offalsnout and looking at it and going, I do not want this in my deck. So black-red can't answer munitions. If they're just going to be full of bolts, maybe I don't even want carrion feeder. We'll just be on beetles as the plan. Beetles and kind of awkward creature beatdown. Reaping's going to get worse because they're going to have more spell bombs, etc. Again, they're a deck that can kind of blow us out with our Recurse Marauder trigger on the stack, but and then I don't want to go up to 4 life staff seems a lot, seeing as they can just do the Deadly Dispute thing, and essentially gaining a whole bunch of life's not really going to matter. 3 is the perfect number because it can make a 1/1 attack into Pactdoll Terror. We're not worried about the map. Yeah, I'm just going to do this. I'm potentially not completely sold on Crypt Incursion, but so we're going to keep. I don't have any real expectations for our Infiltrator making it very far. Am I enough of a coward to just play him on turn 3? I guess it depends on what they do. Or what we do. I think I'm just going to play 2 1-drops. And then this way we can play the Infiltrator and sack it to the Village Rites in our turn. If we draw a treasure creature, or draw a treasure so that we can get the munitions online, we can answer this. Otherwise we might find it a bit awkward. So they do have reverbs, and now we're in an awkward spot for what we discard. I think it's just the Infiltrator. Like, we lose our clock, but in what world am I expecting that if they're on Gal Blasts and Bolts and leave up 2 Great Furnaces, that's going to survive? In what world? Not this one. So let's Village Rites down the Sage to make a flying blocker. And a life staff's alright. Life staff and Makeshift Munitions sure can gain a lot of life. Oh no. But 2 Fireweavers sure can do a lot of damage as well. Joke's on you. I've got a whole bunch of swamps. Huh. So we have a freebooter, but we can't kill him yet. And I'll keep this in hand. I very unlikely have a 3rd refurb, but two damage. That's 2 damage. Yeah, they had it. Another 2 damage. So I'm a bit worried that they're just going to kill us next turn by just like, playing a couple more artifacts. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. So again, I will say this was kind of back onto the low end of our draws, and the 4 refurbs is quite the set. Guess I don't even want the treasure that much anymore. So this, we're not dead straight away. Sure. Boss. Why? So I got burned out, so now I'm looking at the life stuff. But obviously, the life staff might well. I was going to say might well have been one of the worst cards we drew that game. In that none of them did anything, but this didn't do anything. Even more than some of the other stuff. Do I want some snuff outs? I mean, I'm not really. I think I'm just going to run it back. Yeah. Like, obviously they're fine. They've got so many black and red, black creatures, sorry. And then they have so many black creatures in their deck. So I'm probably going to put back the Infiltrator from this hand. Is that crazy? Am I crazy? My reasoning is if I put back the Infiltrator, like, the Infiltrator just gets bolted, and that way I get to keep the Reap in the Graves. If we just get to do the Stormbind thing, then the Reaping could be good. But yeah, going back to that game, the life stuff didn't do anything. I guess none of the cards did anything. We just didn't get the synergy going. So I think it's very unlikely they have duress. Well, we didn't see duress. I think it's quite unlikely they brought it in, but I think definitely conviction here. I'm having a hard time. Gonna top this, but that might be wrong. So we just don't draw a creature in this or our next draw step. We do draw. Just bailed out. But yeah, I am going to Munitions just because it's the type of card that can take over the game. Fends off refurbs and so on. And it's our removal for their Fire Weavers. Oh, and we played around the dress. That's just savage disrespect of Reap in the Graves. I guess this means you've got a Spell Bomb. That would make sense. So are we just playing a Ghast anyway? Yeah. Even if they have a Spell Bomb, like, obviously it's not great, but the second one might be. I was tempted to just hold up 3 mana and just go, right, I'll just get back my 1 freebooter, but that seems poor. So we can Beetle pass. I feel like Curse Mord is going to be alright this game. So we're back onto all Wellsprings. Not seen a dispute yet, not seen a kind of payoff. I don't hate throwing this at them now. Putting more cards in the grave for reaping. Pump this. Again, I'm expecting this will get bolted, but no, because we've got so many draw 2 effects. Let's just go to combat. It is a decision point on do we play out our swamp or hold it for refurb. play out the swamp or hold it for refurb. Let's think. Basically, by playing the swamp, I can guarantee I just sign myself up for I'm reaping in response to a spell bomb or a refurb. Yeah. I think I'd decided that by the time I threw the beetle at them. So they terror now. This does kind of mean that I can't. Like if they played 2 spells, I could sack this to make a treasure, and then still reaping and just get back 3 things. But as is, we just get back these 2. We're going to get to Marauder down the terror. So beetle, and I think I'd rather sack the freebooter than anything else, right? So I'll keep the Marauder in play. Make a treasure. Do I want another beetle? I mean, I really just want more draw 2s. I'm not sure the beetle's ever going to grow enough, but it's fine. We've currently got a board with some things that we can expect to sacrifice. And then if they have a, refurb at the minute, they can snag our crypt incursion, but the incursion's not doing a whole bunch for us yet. Sure, I'll just auto heal that, slightly easier. Again, we can throw one of these at the opponent in response to a bolt on the beetle. Friend's got a lot of cards in hand. Maybe we had to bottom it just to try and find a life staff. But I guess we've got this crypt incursion to gain. Oh, we'll gain 6 life. 6 life's not nothing. So beetle, throw the gas at this, make a treasure. Might well end up throwing something at the. Basically, by making the treasure, we can sack something else as well to put the beetle out of exactly lightning bolt range. What you doing, eh? So deal 4 damage to this now. So I guess we just kill the Epicure. And we've still got our 3 mana for our incursion. I'm not going to worry too much, or I'm not going to be able to protect the beetle, or like outgrow with the beetle, but just get him for 3. Don't love seeing another terror. Lots of damage. So I might have messed up because I probably should have done this earlier, but I can throw the Ghast and the Marauder. Ghast at this, Marauder at this, -1/-1 at this, land at this. They kill this. I'm left with 3 mana for a Crypt Incursion. It'd be nice if I could get the Epicure into the graveyard as well. I could just like throw the Marauder at this now. And it's 1, 2, 3, one of these, and this. So we're not going to have mana to hold up Crypt Incursion for next turn, so we'd be at some risk of getting killed. I think. Sorry, and it's also we can't hold up the 1, 2, 3 using this. We only have 1 mana left. Oh, that's quite awkward, isn't it? I think we're just basically stuck at home. We can attack with our Curse Marauder. If they block with this, then we can use the Shambling Gas to finish it off and get the Village Rites off. If we just trade here, yeah, okay, we'll just take 2 free damage. I guess I can -1/-1 this. I'm gonna pass. Don't love it. You're down to 8. Part of passing is that this way we can block the Terror and Sac. Otherwise, we're just getting, eating a free bolt otherwise. Is this the point that we throw this here? Probably. Yep. So Trespasser's Curse annoyingly really does add up. It winds me up how good that card is against us. It feels like it shouldn't manage to be that good, but boy, does it manage to get there. So we'll block Sac, make a treasure. I guess we could have blocked and tried to -1/-1, but we just get blown out by a bolt. Not that this is great against a bolt, but we can throw this. No, we can't kill that. That's medium. We can dispute, which I like. Dispute a treasure into a treasure. Draw a freeboot. And a reaping. Reaping's nice. So freeboot, reaping, marauder, but then we can't Crypt Incursion. So it's freeboot, reaping, hold up, Crypt Incursion for the Blood Fountain. Risk being, so this puts it down to 7. we're just back into it's so expensive to kill this thing with munitions and then still hold up crypt incursion. If we had a what do you call it? Rotten Union, it would be a lot easier. We can auto yield this, play out Arbor of Whispers, and then pass. Pass. Do we need to reap for 2? I think I'm just going to pass. So shoot this, make a treasure. Shoot these 3. I think this works. Basically, we're using our 3 treasures. We're using our lands to shoot this and our 3 treasures to coffin crypt incursion. So 1 mana, shoot this, sack this. Scry 1. We're not going to have any targets for this. And I'm just going to maximize being able to reap in that turn. Funny spot. Just throw everything. Here's the kitchen sink. I am slightly off of this now that I realised how much mana it takes to how much mana it took to pull that last turn off. Sure, perfect timing. What do I take? A Curse Marauder and a Beetle, or 2 freebooters, 2 beetles. Sure, I'm just going to take 2 beetles. Obviously, the beetle scales well with the Accursed Marauder. Attempting to take more fodder so that we can, throw things at the opponent, but if we drew the Infiltrator, we'll play that. Hilarious, just like fear my 1/1s that I really don't want to sacrifice to a Makeshift Munitions. They get some value. I think I'm going to sack the Beetle. I'll discard the Beetle. Yeah, they bolt now, so we can't throw our things at them, which makes sense. So we can Marauder, shoot them for 1. That might be bad. It might be better to just, well, A, not have a creature card in their graveyard, and B, keep the Marauder around in case they draw another creature. Because then we could, if we'd have still had this, we'd have taken 2 damage. We could have Maraudered, shot this, Marauder kill, sack trigger, kill this. They go back to doing the thing in a way that we are not. So this is where we just want to draw all our Stormbinds. I guess they're doing an engine, so yeah. Feels like draw a card, discard it for 2 damage is not going to be enough. What if we had more life staffs that we couldn't equip? Does that make it any better? No, I think we're throwing one of these at a refurb. So, where did this match go wrong? Or this game? Really struggled with a clean answer to the Pactdoll. I think. I mean, they've not played another Blood Fountain yet. Obviously, we threw our entire hand after the. We threw all of our lands at a bunch of treasures after that Pactdoll to kill it, but I still feel like I probably had to. I think it's just, you know, non-snuff out decks are quite tough. Sorry, decks where snuff out is quite a weak are quite tough. Bolt us, put us out of our misery. Yeah. Hello and welcome back to this little wrap up. So first things first, I've cut the offalsnout from the deck. Water Munition just has to be so much better. The fact it answers a Blood Fountain, for example, so cleanly, and Blood Fountain's so good in of itself, makes the Water Munition a lot more tempting. I guess the main thing, so come back to the rest of the deck. Again, really happy with all the draw 2 effects. That's that's very powerful. I don't think there were too many cases where we were punished with more draw 2s and not enough of the 2-body sack creatures, even with only the 3 link breakers. I might have to double check through, or there might be a few examples. I don't remember them at the minute. So Makeshift Munitions is probably the main thing I'd want to I wanted to be evaluating. I was already convinced on the Corrupting mission. So it worked as like another carrion feeder. There was one example of that where we had like the 3 Mortician Beetles beating down. They probably would have bolted a carrion feeder. They couldn't bolt the munitions. All great. And we didn't actually play the matchups where I think the munitions would shine the most, which would be like your elves, your fairies, for example. But I think what we did see was, again, slightly tainted by the fact that they weren't matchups I would particularly want it. And I think I boarded it out, at least 3 of the 5 matches. Is that, having this as a Stormbind or a 3-mana Stormbind, I guess this only costs 2 to activate, is just not quite powerful enough. Well, I say not quite, isn't powerful enough to kind of hold sway against like a Deadly Dispute engine. Again, there's some synergy with Reaping the Graves, but if you're throwing, you're spending all your mana, this is very mana intensive. This is pretty mana intensive. Crypt Incursion, again. So, the Pactdoll Terror deck in round 5, we got to make use of it. It killed a Pactdoll Terror where, obviously if they were Curse Marauders, they could have done a similar job. Otherwise, it could have been tough. But then we still wound up just kind of getting overwhelmed by Deadly Dispute. I'd worry that even Elves could maybe go the same way. If it takes us. We're unlikely to deploy this on turn 2. If we deploy it on turn 3, they've already got a Priest Titania going, and they're already, done a lead the Stampede or a Winding Way, found a bunch of guys. This might just be too slow. I don't know. I think this is another option in your, depending on what meta you might play against. You might want some copies of this. I'm not sure this is going to be my main way going forwards. I think I'm more leaning towards something from one of the Pauper discords, Shadow Alley Denizen. So I'm not gonna read it. You can read it for yourselves. I think that's probably a better way of giving evasion than trying to like just grind through with this Stormbind effect. It's not quite powerful enough. So that's my takeaway, and see you in the next video.